Welcome to my social study channel. So we are addressing chapter 5, why is there greater diversity in Singapore now? So to start, this is part of issue 2, living in a diverse society, and today we are addressing chapter 5, why is there greater diversity in Singapore? This is right after chapter 4. Before we start, we're going to look at one of the most important factors which influence Singapore population, which is the immigration policy. So let's go. It first started with the setting up of Jurong Industrial Estate, which marks the start of Singapore Industrial Program. This creates more demand for Singapore workers. So we need more workers for this industrial estate. But where do we find these workers? So we need them in these various areas such as construction sites, factories, shipyards, and this is the start of our industrialization program. And when we need these workers, they are addressed through issue of work permits because we could not find enough local workers to seek this kind of employment. So foreign workers are given permits to work in Singapore since 1971. And this employment, they disallow foreign workers to stay permanently, so it's a temporary measure, or have families in Singapore, so they are not allowed to settle. Once they have earned enough, they can and will return. So 1980 saw Singapore facing a declining population, means our population start to decrease. And brain drain, which forces Singapore foreign workplace policy to evolve to meet Singaporean manpower needs, means that our top tier workers are leaving Singapore to earn higher income overseas, while we don't have enough population to support those construction sites, those factories that we have created earlier on. And Singapore now focus on a higher skilled foreign workforce, which supports a knowledge-based economy. It's no longer focusing on agriculture or manufacturing. In fact, we are moving on to the tertiary industry. Since Singapore faces a falling birth rate, we reduce our overall citizen population and working age season. We have less people working and more people moving towards the retirement age. So aging population will worsen our age dependent ratio. What this means is that for the younger people who are working, they will face an increasing tax, and this creates an economic burden where they will have to pay more in order to support those who are retired. And continued low birth will actually lead to a shrinking customer base. For sales of product means that we do not have enough customers. Then where do companies go? Overseas, obviously. And inadequate manpower to operate and making Singapore unattractive for business. We don't have enough workers, we don't have enough people to sell to, so they will have to venture overseas. So we have to encourage foreign workers into Singapore and review such policies to allow them to mitigate these problems. And as a result, we can see what is happening in the picture, where we have an orangutan whispering foreign talent. Yes, I hope you figure out what the panda refer to. So foreign manpower when it comes to Singapore temporary are known as migrant. They are not called citizens, nor they are called permanent residents. These migrants who choose to make Singapore their home will then become naturalized Singapore citizens or permanent residents eventually. But this has gone through a rather strict process. And this immigration framework for granting those who consider a wide range of factors such as their ability to contribute to Singapore, their adaptability to our society and our values, and show commitment to Singapore to continue contributing to Singapore. So as for migrants and immigrants, they bring with them the diverse culture from their countries of origin, and of course their practices, and last but not least, their customs as well. This is something to consider because with that, it increases our diversity in Singapore. They also come with their skills, valuable experience, and business networks that contribute to Singapore economy. They, in fact, according to the PM, create good jobs. Of course, those that are higher paying, supposedly. But for Singapore economy to continue growing, we cannot have too many or too few migrants and immigrants. We need to have this magical number, which is called just right. So immigration policies, they will change according to Singapore manpower needs. Over time, if we find that we have too many migrants and immigrants, we might have to make it stricter for them to come in, and vice versa. When we do not have enough workers, we might have to encourage them to come to Singapore. And different passes and permits have different quotas, which ensures that migrants can continue contributing to Singapore in different areas. We'll take a look at the different passes. We have the employment pass, and it has been slowly adjusting upwards over the years. We have about 4,500 a month and have acceptable qualification, and for older workers they might actually be higher. Entry pass for eligible foreign entrepreneurs who are keen to start a business because Singapore encourages them. And you have personalized employment pass, which is for high earning existing employment pass or foreign professionals. They are usually the CEO and or earns a lot of money. Then we have the skilled and semi-skilled workers. We call it the S pass. They must earn at least 2,500 a month and meet the assessment criteria, which you can find out on the Ministry of Manpower website. So they also have work permit for the semi-skilled foreign workers. They are for these industries which Singaporeans may not be enough. So they are in construction, manufacturing, marine shipyards, process and service sectors. Then we have work permits for foreign domestic workers, which Singapore needs a lot actually to support the working parents, to support the elderly population which the working children cannot help. So they will need them. Their work permit for confirmation nannies to work in Singapore up to 16 weeks. That's approximately 4 months, starting from the birth of the employer child. And you have work permit for performing artists. So for foreign performers, if they wish to perform here in the bars, hotels and nightclubs, they have such a permit as well. Moving on, we have trainees and students. So we have training employment pass for foreign professionals undergoing practical training. They are training here to go back to their country. They must earn at least 3,000 a month as a trainee. So they also have work holiday pass for students or graduates between 18 to 25 who want to work and holiday in Singapore for 6 months from other countries. And you have work holiday pass under work and holiday visa program. For Australian students, just for them for 18 to 30 who want to work and holiday for 1 year. So we have a special arrangement with Australia for them to work longer. Then we have training work permit for semi-skilled foreign trainees. They are undergoing practical training in Singapore for up to 6 months. Then we have dependent pass. For spouses of S pass or employment pass, they are allowed to stay here to accompany their spouses. Then we have long-term visit pass for parents. Then we have pre-approved letter of consent for eligible spouses or children who have yet to achieve the dependent pass or yet to obtain the dependent pass or long-term visit pass. Then we have letter of consent, so on and so forth. So this comes to the end of chapter 5 part 1. I hope you stay tuned to the next few parts, and goodbye.